Okay, I have to tell you about a conversation that I had just yesterday with my real estate agent. If you follow me on social media, you know that there's a big move going on. It came really quickly, but that's a story for another day. So we were swapping, my agent and I, and actually the photographer who was here to photograph our home. We were swapping like these wild stories, right? You know, the kind of things that people say or they'll try to pull during a home sale or purchase. And I have a lot of friends who are agents, real estate agents. Many of my clients over the years, and even currently, I have many real estate agent clients. So I hear some crazy stories. But my agent yesterday told me one that stopped me dead in my tracks. I've never heard this before. So he said years ago, when his coach was a real estate agent, and side note, we've had some interesting conversations, my agent and I, it's actually there's a couple who is our agent. We've had some really interesting conversations because they believe in coaching too. As agents, they have a business coach. Anyway, so their business coach told them a story about back when he was still an agent selling homes. And he said he had a client out in California who was buying a home. And he went to look at a house, fell in love with it. It was the surfer dude, as he was described to me. And he fell in love with the house he looked at, but he also fell in love with the seller's dog. You know what's coming. Here's the twist. The surfer dude refused to buy the house unless the seller included the dog in the deal. He had his agent write the contract up that way. Can you even imagine? Like, that was the deal breaker for this buyer. No dog, no deal. And apparently, the seller agreed. He sold the house and his dog. I looked at my agent. I know my mouth fell open hearing this story. I looked at my agent and I said, in no uncertain terms, listen, if someone came in with a full price offer on our house, hell, if they came in even with an over asking offer, but they told me that I had to give them Monkey or Harley or both as part of the deal, I would not sell. I would not sell. I do not care how much money is on the table. It's a hard no for me because Monkey and Harley are not furniture. I will tell him that kind of as a joke that I'd consider Monkey, but anyway, I was kidding, right? They're not furniture, they're family. It would feel like selling one of our kids. Hell, I might even sell one of our kids before I would sell my dogs. They are non-negotiables. But here's what's funny. I could not stop thinking about this yesterday. And so later, last night, when I was thinking about it and I was talking to Roger about it, I was thinking, and our discussion went into how it's really not about the dog or the house. Really, when you get right down to it, what I was thinking is it's about how often we say something is non-negotiable and then we quietly negotiate it away. And that's what I want to talk about today. We say health matters. We say rest matters. We say boundaries matter, right? But how often do we trade those things away? Quietly, gradually, we sell them for a sense of ease, maybe, or approval, or maybe even in a twisted kind of way, we think we're doing it for comfort. And it usually doesn't happen. I'll say most often, it does not happen in like these big dramatic moments. It's not like someone walking up and offering you money for your dog, which still blows my mind when I say that out loud. It happens in these small ways, these subtle, repeated choices, right? Let me give you a couple of examples that I was thinking about. You say you are going to stop working past 6 p.m. because you need to cut ties with work, leave work at work, and go home. Or maybe you work at home, but you need to have a boundary of cutting work off at 7 p.m. because you need to rest, you need better sleep, right? But then your boss emails you at what did I say, 7 p.m., 6 p.m., you're going to cut off your work day, whatever. And 15 minutes after your cutoff time, you get this email from your boss and you reply because, oh, it'll only take a minute, right? You just sold off your boundary for the price of, maybe it's the price of not feeling behind tomorrow, or worse, in my mind, maybe it's for the price of, I don't know, something you think that your boss is going to think about you if you don't do it, or think about you if you do respond, right? Or maybe this example hits home. You say you're not going to be the one to plan the girls' trip this year. You've got too much on your plate. You promised yourself you'd stop being the default organizer, but no one else steps up and the date's getting closer. And so you do it again. You tell yourself, it's just easier this way. But it's not easier, is it? It's just maybe familiar, but it's not easier. How about this? You say you want to take better care of your body. You want to feel strong again. You want to have energy. But then, I don't know, your friend gives you kind of that look when you pass on dessert and you cave because you don't want to make it a thing. I've heard that story, whether it be your friend who makes the comment or gives the look, or the sister or the mother. I've heard that story from so many women who become my client. Anytime you've experienced any of those things, and so many other ones, you just sold off your commitment for the cost of not feeling awkward. For example, in that last example. And listen, I am not judging you. I have done this. We all do this. We sell ourselves off, one compromise at a time, one tiny little trade for comfort, for smoothing it over, or keeping the peace. But over time, think about this. When you do that over time, you wake up in a life and in a body that doesn't feel like your own anymore. You're exhausted. You're frustrated. You're disconnected from the things that you swore matter the most. So here's a question I have for you. What are you selling off piece by piece? And would you even notice if it was completely gone? Because sometimes we give things up, the most important things, especially, we give them up so gradually that we don't even realize what we've lost until it feels like, we can't get it back. And so here's what I want you to think about today. What's your dog? What's your dog? What's the thing that should be sacred, immovable, non-negotiable? And are you actually protecting it? Are you protecting your dog, or are you just saying you are? Because the truth is, it's not about a house. It's not about the money. It's about knowing what matters and being the kind of woman who doesn't flinch when the offer comes in. We all say we wouldn't sell the dog, but we all keep selling ourselves. How about we stop doing that? Thanks for being here with me. I always appreciate your time in our conversations, and I'll meet you right back here next time.